And Stormy, you had a conversation with Vicki Baker to help set this interview up. She was one of those meeting with the governor yesterday. She's been an advocate for
That's right.
business in the community.
She's on the phone with us.
She's on the phone with us.
Good morning.
Miss Commissioner.
Good morning. How are you guys today?
Good. We're good.
Good. Great. Well, I'd like to just share a couple things, and then I can tell you a little bit about what happened.
Yeah, you had a meeting yesterday with the governor. Yeah, so go ahead, tell us. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, first, I just want to say this because I think it's important people know that I hear you. My email is absolutely jammed. My phone's ringing off the hook. Lots of business owners, lots of people who are concerned, and I just want you to know, I'm a small business owner too. I realize our businesses are collapsing, and a lot of you are throwing in the towel. I know a lot of people who work in those businesses are also feeling a lot of uncertainty and fear, and I don't want to sound like Bill Clinton, but I mean it. I'm very concerned, and it's breaking my heart, and I want you to know I'm working hard on this, and I've been doing this through the lockdown. I think it's been very unfair that the big box stores were allowed to be open and the small retailers have been closed.
Yeah.
And I made the argument early on that safety and essential are different things, and we have to get our stores open. I think I mentioned in the paper about we created a funnel with just a limited number of stores. Everybody's going into those, and the businesses, if they were all open, we would have normal shopping patterns. We would be able to do those businesses being opened safe. Would just have far less traffic. I think it would have helped, but I'm still advocating for that, and I think it still would be an important thing to do. But we're working on the safety part, which is...
Have you made that proposal to the governor or anybody? I mean,
yeah.
What's the feedback you're getting?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, the governor's heard from me. He's heard from Mayor Byers. I think, and I'll get into the governor thing. Let me just say a couple more things, and then I'll tell you about our meeting.
Yeah.
So the concern is safety, and that part I don't have any desire to be reckless, and I think that is some of the concern of the health officials. That they think business owners are just going to throw open their doors like normal, and the virus will take off if we do that. So, we have to do this safely, and we have to show that we'll do it right. So, I've been trying to come up with a lot of different things that we can do to assure those public health officials that we're going to do it safely. So, we've got a pledge that we're going to have if business owners, and I'll tell you, they're calling me. I know that they will do it safely. They're telling me every single day they'll put in the safety measures. They'll do anything to open right now. But we do have a pledge that they can sign that's being created. The chamber's doing that with Berlin. So, and there's a lot of other things I can share about what we're doing. But yes, I did meet with the governor yesterday. Yeah. And I thought it was going to be a Zoom call. We'd had lots of those, and they seem to be phone calls or Zoom calls, where we meet and we talk about all of our concerns. But we got a email late Monday night that he was going to fly over, wanted to be here in the Valley, and he referred to his many years living here, and he wanted to come and see firsthand what was going on in Yakima. So I was kind of grateful. He talked about the fond memories, so, you hope that those pull on his heartstrings. I reminded him of all the landmarks around our valley that are going to close if he doesn't open us up. I talked about specific places that I know he likes or liked when he lived here. So the other people who were in the meeting, Mayor Byers was there, Mayor Sherry Raymond of Sela, Mayor Francisco Guerrero of Sunnyside, his city manager Martin Casey, Mayor John Hutchinson of Union Gap, and the city manager Arlene Fisher. We were in there in a small group with the governor and two staff. And the staff member that was with the governor was John Wiesman, who is the person who will or bless or not bless any plan that is submitted.
Right.
So do you want me to go over the process for opening, or do you think your listeners already know what that is?
In terms of the sequence of events and the metrics of events, I think our folks are pretty well versed on that. I guess what I would allow you to, if there's a couple more things you want to add, or do you want to field questions?
Well, I can tell you a little bit more about what we're doing, if that's okay, and I can also tell you some of the things that were said yesterday. So, and I love my partner, Mayor Patricia Byers. She's terrific. In her talk, she just said, Governor, you've got the authority. Let's just open up today. Skip all of those steps that we have in place and just do it. And he talked about science and numbers and things like that and reasons why we couldn't do that yesterday. But he also did recognize our argument that we can't have an indefinite lockdown in Yakima County based on some numbers and some science. So that was good. And I think if everybody doesn't know, there's a scoreboard to see how we're doing, and that scoreboard has been pretty terrible to look at. And I think that was the concern of all the people, that you looked at that and it didn't provide you a whole lot of hope. And that is why I'm pushing. That scoreboard needs to be different for us. We are essential. We're open. We're feeding the nation. We never could close for that reason. We're not King County. You can't telecommute to pick cherries. It's just not how we are. So that's been the pushing that we're talking about here, is just please consider us differently. And we also talked about our concerns for our mental health in the community. We talked about the overdose problem that we've got here. It's real. And suicides, things that are also health. We have to think about those things. And we talked about the fact our people are traveling. You can lock us down here in Yakima County, but I watch Facebook. Everybody's going everywhere to have a haircut. They're going to have a beer in Ellensburg. They're going to have dinner out, and they're going across the whole state. And I know he doesn't want that. So, we talked about that, and it's happening, and it's not going to stop happening until we open up.
That's right.
So he heard that, and I think he's still concerned about the science, but there was discussion, though, that we need to do both. We need to open up Yakima, and we need to take care of our health concerns here.
So how do we do that? Jeez.
Well, I can go over some of the things we're doing, and we are kind of ramping up with that. So there will be quite a bunch happening that should help. But also, I wanted to. Governor Inslee is we're not politically the same.
Yeah.
So I'm a conservative, and so I thought it was important that I talked to him about things that matter to him, though. So I talked to him about our broadband access, for example, across the county. I said that we're not the West Side. We don't have it. There are places here that have nothing, or just dial-up, which is hard to believe, but it is true. And for that reason, our children can't be educated during this. And it's unfair, and it affects children who are economically disadvantaged, and that's a true fact.
Yeah.
And he cared about that. So, I tried to think of things that besides the normal economic arguments that I always make, that we talked about other things, too. And the mental health part of it, I think, is very important to share. So the other people who were in the meeting were terrific. Sherry Raymond, mayor of Selah, she's a business owner like me. She talked about the devastation and how hard it's going to be for businesses to open. To begin with, because of some of the other conditions, some of the things the federal government did and some things that were done at the state that will make it difficult and expensive. And it was good for him to hear that. The mayor of Union Gap talked about his community, which is reliant on his police are funded by basically, the Valley Mall and all the business down there.
Right.
Need them to open up. Have to. And the Valley Mall, by the way, I talked to Linda, they are so prepared that, their businesses are open across the country. We're like the last. So they are very ready. They've got plans. And I shared all that, It's important.
It didn't change his mind, though. It didn't seem like it, right?
The meeting was more about asking for different criteria, and I think this is the beginning. I'll just put it like that. This is the beginning of it. I know we didn't get like a signed pact, and right after our meeting, there was a meeting with the health officials, and right after that meeting, there was a meeting with the chamber and some business owners. So, and I don't know what he did after that. I hope he drove around and saw that we were really making a good faith effort here. So
yeah. Just okay. I guess we just continue to just harp on it. Try to get folks. I guess that's the bottom line, right? I mean, is that what you feel? The bottom line is we need more people masking up, so we can take these numbers down.
Yeah, to him that's very important. So you know that they do studies of the percentage that people are wearing them going into stores, And I think and they talked about that at the health district. Dr. Everson talked about how important that is, and they're watching that.
Yep.
So if you do nothing else, please wear your mask going in the store. Just that will help those studies, and it'll be good anyway to do. I mean, it's not going to hurt anything. I recognize a lot of people don't believe in it. I'm not a big fan, but I'm doing one because I want to open up our businesses. It's really important we get going here.
I guess if I was going to ask you, what's the most important thing that business owners could do, and that is, I suppose, that's encourage people to wear a mask. I mean,
well, yes, I know that would be important, but also, if you want to sign the pledge, I think that would be a sign that that you care about safety, and those will be available. The chamber is in charge of that part. The strike teams. That's the chamber. She's leading that, Berlin. Also the Central Washington Hispanic Chamber, the Yakima County Development Association. We're going to have volunteers. Those strike teams will be available for any business that wants to have assistance. Okay, so if, let's say, they don't know how to do safety, they can be assisted. There'll be a resource. The pledge will be happening. We have outreach and marketing. The commissioners are going to be doing a lot of that. The governor pledged to match any spending that we did on that, which will be, going out in the community across the whole valley, trying to make sure that everyone understands how, events and parties and things like that aren't helpful right now. So we're going to reach out and communicate.
Good luck on that.
I know. It's a big challenge. We're going to try. And, we've sourced a lot of the PPE, and there's a lot of masks that we got. There's 1 million pieces of PPE our awesome emergency management guys have been passing out. You can see them all over the place.
Right.
And that will continue, and we're trying to get cloth masks for people who don't have them. So if they need one for work, essential work especially.
If some business owners listening right now, I mean, can they call you if they have questions and concerns?
Sure. Oh my gosh, yeah, there already are. So It's fine. Absolutely call me. We're working on the economic response. The commissioners have $2.8 million that's being currently set up. We really want to get that money out quickly. We got it finally from the federal government, got it to the state. The state finally got it to us last week. So now we're in the process of figuring out how to get that out really fast, which government's so ridiculous, guys. I'm used to doing things quickly. But it's going to be as quick as we possibly can do in government. And those will be a variety of things that we hope to get the gaps on. So I know out there's a lot of business owners who couldn't do a PPP because they didn't have employees or couldn't get them back, or they didn't get an emergency disaster loan, or they didn't qualify for the small business grant, whatever. We're trying to find a way to have our grant hit the gaps.
Do you think that, based on these conversations, are politics at play at all, in your opinion?
Well, I think, it's an election year for everybody, the governor. I don't know if we were half photo op and half work yesterday or what, but I think that there was work that happened, and I do think that he heard a lot of what we said. I do know that people who know him when he lived here, that he does care about those businesses that I talked about. So I think, if we could put a face on it, I was hoping that would help. And I don't know if being back here he said it was the first place he'd been other than Olympia since the beginning of this, which I didn't recognize that. So.
Okay. What, in terms of the dashboard standards that have to be met, the 25 cases and all of that, that's 100% locked down, has to be met. I know you said look at us differently given our different considerations over here. Is there any give on that?
I hope so, and that's the part. I think so, and that's my opinion. I'm one person, but the health officer ultimately puts in the application, and it's going to be her comfort level with whatever she thinks is a good number. If she sticks to 25, and I don't think she will, I just don't think we can. There will be no town left. the valley will be a mess. We just can't do that, and that's what I will continue to push for.
Yeah, it just I'm sorry, but it just sounds, Vicki, like he came over here and he kind of gave you guys a little bit of ear, give him and then he just went out and told what he was going to do anyway. Doesn't sound like there was any kind of like, well, I've talked to the Yakima officials and I'm going to ease the. I mean, it was all dire and we're headed to disaster and man, everybody's got to mask up and stay home and it's just such a frustrating. And then And then you wonder if there's any kind of political component in this whole thing. And then today he's having I'm just looking at Facebook, a conversation with Washington Governor Jay Inslee, climate in the time of coronavirus. 10 o'clock this morning, climate solutions. He's going to be talking all about the climate during coronavirus. So it's like, anyway.
Yeah, no, I hear you, Lance, and I have to be there, and I have to advocate, and I have to push, and I will continue to do that. And I'm not happy with the measurements, and I don't think they're right. And I am one person, but I will be loud, and as loud as I can be. I will continue.
What do you think, Vicki, is the reason for the high number of cases in our county compared to everywhere else? There are other ag counties. There are other circumstances. Why Yakima, do you think? And is mask the answer?
I really don't know, and I would love to have. Are you going to have Dr. Everson or a health expert?
Yes.
They get all of the inside details of the data, and they probably could really tell you. We get kind of the overview of where the clusters might be, and really superficial data. So it's hard for me. Although I think going forward, there was a pledge yesterday for millions of dollars to come here. Maybe they'll be able to give us a lot more data, and maybe we'll be able to see exactly. I'm very hopeful that maybe that will help. I don't know what else we can do with the health side of this. I'm not a doctor.
Yeah. I was going to ask you just before you left, but I'll ask you now because Dave brought it up. Or that you brought it up. Everson, we're talking to Dr. Everson, trying to get her either 7:15 tomorrow or Friday 7:15.
Oh, good.
But if you had her here, what question would you ask her?
Oh, yeah, well, okay. So Dr. Everson, for a while, I think my concern is that we're just following the governor, his guidelines exactly here, and we're different. And so that's been my focus is just trying to have her work with that, who we are. Treat us like we are. I think it's Norm, our Commissioner Childress said it very well when he talked about, we're a patient that is not healthy. You don't just refuse to take care of us. Treat us as we are, and that's what I would hope for.
We'll do that. We will ask her that. Commissioner Vicki Baker, continue to work to get this place open, man, so we can spend our money in our local establishments, and sit down for a beer and a meal and get our hair cut.
Boy, yeah, my hair really needs that. I can tell you right now. I'm pushing for that for sure.
Well, keep in touch, and we'll keep in touch with you, and we thank you for your time. Yakima County Commissioner Vicki Baker.
Thank you.
Hey, Vicki, before you go, one last question. Separate from all of this. West Side location? Grocery outlet?
Yeah, so I
right.
saw the sign too. That is not mine, and it's good that you asked me that. Our company, Grocery Outlet, when my family started, which was 38 years ago now, was just a little tiny company. It went public last summer, and so it's growing like crazy now. And that will be a different owner. It won't be me. Oh. And Sela is owned by somebody else, and Sunnyside's owned by somebody else. So great folks, and I'm not that, but it's not my store. Yeah. So we're still the original one down in Union Gap area.
Right on.
Gotcha.
Okay, and hey, one last thing. Our listeners are listening out there, obviously, and they're on Facebook, and one of them says, Vicki Baker, keep up the hard work for the Yakima Valley. We appreciate you and your fight for all small and large essential businesses. Cindy Blondie writing that. So
thank
you got fans out there. Right on. Thanks for your time. Appreciate it. We'll keep in touch.
Okay, thank you very much.